Will the market ever change? Hi everyone, my name is Mike Rennick. I'm the team lead, the senior broker of Team Rennick, part of that great Mangrove Realty Associates family. Many folks are getting tired. I get that. Our changes on the way. Time will tell, but let's take a look at the latest data. What I have right now is what everyone calls February data. It's effective and good through January 31st, the end of last month. It is a macro look. It's Sarasota and Manatee counties. Each of the cities have different dynamics, so this is just the beginning to start. Your broker needs to dig deeper and understand the market. Even if you're a seller, there's things the broker can do today that he or she couldn't do just a few months ago that'll help you maximize that price. So let's take a look at this. Sales are down over last year, 8%. Pendings are down 22%. That's kind of been the story for a while. Prices are up. Same consistency. 30% over last year. Days on the market have fallen about 60%. Months of inventory are down 60%. On the slide that you can see on the video right now, it'll show the history over the last 12 months. But let's dig a little bit deeper. I said sales were down about 8%, actually 7.7. That's the green bar on this chart. One of the things that's interesting, not only are they down from last year, they're down from the last 3 or 4 or 5 months. Is there a trend happening? We've got to keep an eye on that. I like to look at year-over-year data because we're cyclical in nature here, because we're a second home market in much of the area. But when we look at over the last few months, there's a different story there. When we look at the pendings, that's the red line on the chart, pendings have shot up. Now, pendings are the sales that are going to close in the next 30, 60, 90 days. So we have some different data here. We have to watch and see what's going to happen. Price, dollar per square foot. That's the fairest way I can tell to judge on an apple-on-apple basis. Price is up almost 30%, 29.6. You can see that not only is it up from last year, starting last month, it ticked up over the prior months, and this month it's higher. So when we look over a month-to-month basis, prices are still rising, sales are falling. Interesting dynamics going on. Days on the market, kind of consistent, about down 60% from last year. You can see from the orange bars on this chart, staying relatively flat over the past few months. When we look at months of inventory, we had an uptick a little bit. It's down 60% from a year ago, but it's up from last month. Was last month an aberration, or is this more of the trend going up? Time's going to tell. The market does have to change. What goes up must come down. We all know that. But let's take a look at some different dynamics on a national basis. Let's move our focus out of just Florida and look nationally. Inflation is coming. We all know that. The numbers are up. And people are wondering, because of that, what's going to happen with the value of your home or the new purchase prices. So let's take a look at this. Look at what Mark Cousin had to say. It says, and I quote, "Real estate is one of the time-honored inflation hedges. It's a tangible asset, and those tend to hold their value when inflation reigns, unlike paper assets. More specifically, as prices rise, so do property values." Let's take a look at this chart here. If we look at the orange bar, and we look over time, home price appreciation generally has outstripped inflation. It's gone up higher in the 70s. The 80s, it was kind of a push, but we had unique circumstances in the 80s. In the 90s, it's up. The 2010s, 2020, and 2021. So what the experts are saying, if inflation continues to rise, home values also. Generally, most folks feel they're protected with real estate holdings in terms of inflation impact. Let's take a look at James Royal in the comments he has to say. I'm moving over to the mortgage side right now. Costs are going up. Is that going to impact our market? A fixed rate mortgage allows you to maintain the biggest portion of housing expense at the same payment. Sure, property taxes will rise, other expenses will go up, but your monthly housing payment remains the same. That's certainly not the case if you're renting. So home ownership, another benefit during inflation, most mortgages are fixed. Let's take a look at the chart here when we look at rent versus inflation. The rental is the orange line. The blue line is the core inflation rate. We see that rental prices tend to increase more than the inflation rate. Home values hold their own or increase faster. Rental payments go up. It's another case to be made for home ownership. Let's take a look at what Natalie Kempsey has to say. Homeowners are shielded from mounting rental prices because their cost is fixed, regardless of what's happening in the market. Tangible assets like real estate get more valuable over time, which makes buying a home a good way to spend your money during inflationary times. Let's look at house appreciation on this chart. The optimists are saying between now and 2026, home prices will continue to rise to the tune of 62.5%. The average of all panelists say 43.3, and the pessimists are still saying 23.7. So if we look in the balance of 22, 23, 24, 25, and 26, everyone is suggesting house appreciation will continue. The case that we're making here is that even during inflationary times, buying versus renting is still the way to hedge your bets. Let's take a look at mortgage rates. On the chart here, we see that recently they've hit 3.5%, 3.55. That is up over what we've experienced over the past few months, but from a historical point of view, it's not a bad story. Moving to the next chart, we take a look and we go all the way back to 2018. We see what mortgage rates were. So are they up over the past few months? They are, but historically, it is still cheap money. When we look at mortgage rates compared to what's happened in the last 5 decades, we see on the chart that 3.55% was the average. But look back in the 80s when it was almost 13%. In the 70s and 90s, we saw an 8% in front of it. So the message that I'm leaving at this point is mortgage rates, yes, they're higher than we've experienced in the last 18 months or so, still relatively cheap money. What does this mean? The market is still a seller's market. Houses are selling very fast, and they're selling for great appreciation. I get that. There's still a right way, though, whether you're a seller or a buyer, that we can put these dynamics together. We need to look into the city that's specific for you. We need to go deeper. We need to go down to the condo association level or the homeowner association. The story isn't the same all the way across the board. These are just the beginning steps. I'd be happy to share more. If you'd like a free analysis or to learn more about what we could do for you, no obligation, I'd be happy to talk. Again, my name is Mike Rennick. My personal cell, which is what I give to all my clients, is 941-400-8735. Thanks for watching.